I guess I came to Antigua because living in New York was, I don't know, not the lifestyle I wanted.
Dan had come down to Guatemala with the hope of opening a business.
What I always would look for was a self-sustaining entity that made my life fulfilling. So we went to this toy museum in Retaluleo. It's called Shulik. And we were talking to the owner there.
Dan was like, hey, do you have comic books by any chance? Because it was like all of this Marvel and DC stuff.
And he mentioned that he can't get comics at all in Guatemala. He just made it seem like it was impossible. And Sarah just looked at me like,
comics? Like, of course.
The light bulb went off and she didn't have to say anything else. It was just the one word, comics. I knew exactly what she meant.
And so then we came back and we were talking about it. We're like, what would we call the store? Where would we put it? And what would it look like? And how would we make any money? And he's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, okay, what's the absolute worst that could happen?
The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to go out of business and have a lot of comic books. And it didn't seem like there was any downside. Because there are no comic shops in Guatemala, this is the very first comic shop. The distributors in America don't really believe that we exist. To get the store opened, we had to literally drive, 800 comics across Mexico and then here to Guatemala.
I mean, obviously we have a foot in the States and a foot in Guatemala. We know plenty of people that come and go. It couldn't be that difficult to bring down a suitcase every now and then. And whatever it is, I'm sure we'll figure out a way to get over whatever hump it is to get the comic book store going.
Well, since we've opened, it's been amazing. Just people love it.
I just like the atmosphere. They've always been friendly to me, and I just like it there.
Well, he's having the most marvelous time. I literally have to drag him out of there virtually every night. He's taken to wearing costumes basically 24/7.
Yeah, I just got a costume. For some reason I wanted to make a costume, so we went to the local market, the Paca, and we found this shirt, these belts.
And his nickname at the pool hall where he practices is Indy, because he walks around with his whip and his leather jacket and the whole suit. He's also taken to dressing like a Tyrolean mountaineer.
And this pistol, we made ourselves with, cardboard, aluminum foil, and tape. Oh, and some sticks.
Porque siempre me ha gustado la idea de meterme en este mundo, ¿verdad? Pero aquí en Guatemala no hay otras, ¿verdad? Y la gente no apoya eso. Entonces, pues me gusta porque lo que siento es de que vamos avanzando, ahí vamos aceptando otras cosas de otras culturas que son buenas, en lugar de las cosas que mirad vos ahora que solo te llevan a mal camino y cosas así. En cambio esto, pues es un mundo donde vos te metes, estás bien, estás tranquilo, no dañas a nadie, tú te dañas a vos mismo y te da una buena mentalidad, ¿eh? Y no te perdes, en lugar de estar haciendo cosas que no deberías, aprovechas tu tiempo leyendo y
This one guy came in and he almost started crying. He was like, I haven't been able to read a new comic book in 10 years. And I love comic books.
I checked the direction, and before it was opening, I saw the guy opening the door and trying to fix the store. Almost step inside because I wish to be the very first one. And he said, no, please, we have to fix the whole thing. I think in 2 days it's going to be open. And the next 2 days I was in the shop buying the first comic book. After 11 years, maybe my mother bring me 1 or 2 from France. For sure, not the ones I wanted.
And so, I mean, it's really very touching when somebody walks in and just gets like really excited about it. And it happens 3 times a day. Because so many people have walked in and told me, this is the first time I've ever been in a comic shop. And it just blows my mind. But A, they've never been in a comic shop, and that B, it's my comic shop that they'll always remember as their first one.
Just because the place is next door. That's the only reason I ever read one. I'm just interested in reading them. I just find it easy to read.
The first comic book I buy to my kids, the Fantastic Four, Los Cuatros Fantástico, really easy to read. He's not reading, it's just like crazy. It's like if he's eating the book. He enjoyed that.
I've heard that the literacy rate is 40 or 50%, but I've noticed that a lot of kids only go to school for half a day. And I know for myself, I was never like, oh, I'm gonna go home to my room and read a book.
It's the second years learning to read at school. They have decent story, but that's not like a comic book. Since I'm I think like 6 years old, my mother let me buy some comics book, and that's the comic books made what I am today.
What comics are to me is basically sequential art, you know, and using art to tell a narrative. I think that already exists here in Guatemala because of the Mayan Codex, and, you know, there's this kind of already tradition of people using pictures to tell stories. And especially in a country that has such a high literacy rate, it really makes sense that this would be the medium that's best suited to people to tell their stories.
The pictures are there, and it'll help you understand what's going on in the story. It's more fun to look at a book that's full of pictures, and if you read a few of the words and you understand them, then great.
And so I feel like comics are a wonderful opportunity to get people to learn. It just works in so many ways to educate people in a place that education is severely lacking.
There is a lot of values inside. There is a fight between the good and the bad. You don't want to be a superhero, but you recognize yourself in one of them. That's really cool. And when you're alone in your room, you can be Spider-Man. No one is here. You can do whatever you want. And now Dan and Sarah open the shop, and I'm gonna spend not all my money, but a lot of money in this shop.
The reaction's been just wonderful, and like it's hard to even imagine that we're a business that's only been open a month and we're already making the numbers we need to stay open. You know, hopefully it's just going to go up. We're going to, you know, listen to the business and give people what they want. It's hard to say though, because people have never been in a comic shop before, so they don't know what they want.
We're here, we're starting a business. It's a fun business. It's reading, it's literacy, it's English and Spanish and pictures and art. And you have a reason to go out and buy toys and comics and all of this cool stuff.
As far as I can tell, the comic shop just wants to expand and get bigger. And considering that we're here in Antigua, and Antigua is not by any means a big city in Guatemala, it's a small town, then we're making money here. It just really makes me want to expand to other cities in Guatemala and just get more comics and more stores, and just, I want to be the comic king of Guatemala.